issue with comments made by Crime Chief Vernon Francois in the continuing controversy over the police slaying of a civilian in Soufriere. Gavin Alexander was fatally shot on Christmas Day, and during his funeral this week, mourners grew angry with uniformed police, prompting some ugly scenes. Former Acting Police Commissioner Herman Gill Francis has been clearing the air on that incident, as well as taking Crime Chief Vernon Francois to task for comments made in relation to the Christmas Day slaying. DBS's Cecil Actil begins our news coverage.
It was reported that emotions ran high, leading to chaos outside the Soufriere police station. The footage shows hundreds of mourners proceeding down the streets, two fallen barricades set up by police, and chants of frustrated and furious mourners demanding that the police officer who shot the 29-year-old be brought to account. Former Deputy Police Commissioner Herman Gill Francis, who is also a relative to the deceased, claims that the mourners were nowhere in sight of the police station. Mr. Francis further stated that mourners grew angry when they spotted the presence of 3 uniformed police officers who stood by.
There was never any intention of going near the police station. I made it clear to the driver of the hearse that we were going straight down Bridge Street. And even the persons who were in front of the hearse decided that they should have gone left because they saw a barricade there and about 3 police officers. I think the presence of the police officers there kind of incensed them, and they decided that they wanted to go that way. But I quickly, when I saw what was happening, I went across and I informed them again that we were not going to the police station, we were going straight to the cemetery. And they followed my instructions and they went back to the route that we had decided upon.
Gavin Alcindor was fatally shot by a plain-clothed police officer. Alcindor, aka Borderline, was one of hundreds of patrons at a community dance at the Rainforest Disco in Soufriere when he drew the attention of the officer, who was also in the crowd. Alcindor, according to reports, had been repeatedly setting off firecrackers in the crowd. The officer intervened. Alcindor fled the scene, leading to a chase. At some point during the pursuit, the officer drew a firearm and discharged at least 2 rounds, hitting Alcindor in the neck. Mr. Francis says he was most disappointed by remarks made by the acting crime chief, Vernon Francois.
I've always explained to them that we need to put trust in the justice system, and that's what I'm doing. That's why I have not said anything negative, or I will not try and say anything about the police at this present stage. All I'm asking is that they do the job conscientiously and professionally. I also need to add that I was a little disappointed with Mr. Francois for coming on television a couple of days, just before the funeral, and indicating that the individual had a particular firearm. I don't think it was necessary at this time. The DPP should have been the one to be allowed to make a decision as to what she's going to do. But to put in the public domain now that some firearm was found, I think also incensed the crowd in Soufriere, and I think it was unfortunate that he did that at that time.
Mr. Francis believes that justice will prevail in the matter and has urged the residents of Soufriere to have faith in the system. Reporting for the DBS News World, I am Cecil Actil.
And the actions of persons in Soufriere who took the law into their own hands by assaulting an officer who shot and killed a man who was setting off match bombs has been strongly condemned by the Community Action Program for Safety. We get the details from DBS's Don Nicholas.
The Community Action Program for Safety CAPS was forthright in stating that persons need to go through the proper channel to deal with grievances against law enforcement officers. CAPS was speaking against the backdrop of an officer who was assaulted by persons in Soufriere after he fatally shot a man who was reportedly bursting match bombs and causing a disturbance at a dance on Christmas Day.
If you have a grievance, or if you have grievances, the places you can go to seek some form of redress for your grievance. And with reference to what you asked earlier on about the situation in Soufriere and the attacking of the police officer, I strongly condemn that move, because again, an incident happened, the police were on the scene, the senior officer was on the scene, he would take matters.
Mr. James made no bones about stating that persons who take the law into their own hands will be dealt with by the authorities.
There is the law, I mean, the law will be enforced. That's how I see it. The law will be enforced. Once you take matters into your own hands, that means you have decided that you're going to be the judge, the juror, the executioner. You're wrong. There is a place for that, and you should follow the direction, and you should follow the procedure.
The director of CAPS added that persons who insist on taking matters into their own hands should be prepared to face the consequences. Reporting for the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
And now we present Street Vibes. In this evening's program, the people speak on recent incidents of citizens taking the law into their own hands.
No, I do not believe people should be taking the law into their own hands. There is a law in the country and we have to observe these laws. If not,